All right. Here we are again. Naturally. Some of y'all don't know what that is. All right, what's up, guys? Hey, Yasmin from New York City. It's been a while, but joining this evening. Yes, where you been, Yasmin? Good to see you. Hi, Capri. How are you? Leah, good evening. I know you missed last week. Oh, I know. Busy. Look, you always got to take time to come aside and talk to your peeps, though. Hey, Sunshine. What's up? All right. Hey, as you guys are coming in, I have a little news for you. As a part of our overall ecosystem or system. All right, Leah, she says she subscribed. Awesome. As a part of our system, we are starting Marriage Ain't for Punks or MAPS chapters in different cities. We already have a very good lead for Nashville, Tennessee, and of course my hometown, Atlanta. We're going to be starting one here. But this is something that we're going to be doing to sort of increase the love. And I know that we have people from all over the place here. Ohio, we have a very good group in Akron, Ohio that's very interested. So we're looking at different cities. Now here's how will work. These cities will host a Marriage Ain't for Punks community. Okay? It's going to be if you're married, okay, starting off, it's a marriage community. If you're married, that's cool. But if you're not, don't trip, okay? Because we're going to be want to do single events as well. But we're going to be starting with a Marriage Ain't for Punks community. Like I said, we have strong indications already from Nashville, Tennessee, from Atlanta, Georgia, from Houston, Texas, and Dallas. And we're preparing people. We have a whole kit to get you started, show you what it takes or what's going to be necessary to get your chapter up and rolling. But it's something that I want you guys to be aware of. If you have a group in your city that you may have been meeting with, not young people necessarily, but married people, or you know of people, could be through your church, could be just through friends or whatever. Hey, Sabine from LA, wherever it is, in your city, if you know of a group of married people, if you want to get a group of married people together to start a Marriage Ain't for Punks chapter, let me know inside the app. Hit me up. Y'all don't be taking advantage of this app. I'm telling you, it's a great communication tool. Inside the app, just hit me up and just post something, direct it to me, and thank you, Capri. Yes, direct it to me, and I will get you some information, and we can get this started. Now, I'm putting myself out there because we're just starting this. We're just starting it. So it's going to depend on your interest and how much you guys can jump in there so we can get this movement started. Because I know Tuesday nights are great. I enjoy this thoroughly. However, I also know that for couples to really thrive, you need more. You need other couples that are successful, other couples that are doing things right, or maybe not doing things right, where you can actually talk to and you can help them to do that. And Leah, you're not married yet, but that's perfectly okay. Leah, let's talk about it because there may be something we can do also. We want to start the groups. And even if you ain't married, you can start a relationship group, okay? We want to get this thing rolling. It's time for everybody to know about Marriage Ain't for Punks. If you have an interest, let us know inside the app. Please, inside the app. Hit me up. We're already in an app. You're on the call. So you're already in the app. So just go ahead. Go to the front page where it says post a note, post a sign, and my wife or I, we're going to find it, we're going to catch it, and we're going to respond to you, and we'll take it from there. Okay? I'm excited about that. I hope you are also. I think it's going to be really, really cool. All right, guys, let's rock and roll. Now, I know in our notification talked about inheritance and what have you. I'm going to veer just slightly from that. And what I want to talk about tonight is something that we all are interested in. First of all, if you are here and you're just sitting back in the cut and you ain't saying nothing, say something. All right. But tonight we're going to talk about how the account you don't already have is already costing you. We're going to talk about money. And I've shared with you before. Some of you know and some of you don't know. I spent a number of years, about 12 to be exact, with Wall Street firms, things having to do with Wall Street. We're going to talk about some stuff tonight. to talk about wealth, talk about money, talk about communication, talk about marriage, talk about singleness. We're going to talk about all of it, okay? Hey, Frederick and Yolanda. Y'all came on late. We just finished talking about our Marriage Ain't for Punks chapters. You guys are in Nashville. You know what's up. We started a chapter in Nashville. Hey, Pringles. What's up? Rosie in the house. Pringles in the house. All right. So this topic, we're going to get into this, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. When you do not, I'm telling you, when you don't have this one thing in your life, when you're not flowing successfully here, it causes all kinds of hell. And great, Capri is in the DMV. That's awesome. That's awesome. We need to talk about the DMV. We need a chapter in the DMV. Okay, so before we talk about this building wealth thing, we need to talk about why most of us are bleeding money and we don't even know it. And some of you are sitting right next to the person that might be causing you to bleed the money, or at least you know them. So drop a one. If money has caused a serious argument in your relationship, if money has caused any kind of argument, drop a 2 if you're single, okay, and making every financial decision completely alone. Do that. I need you to do that, okay? 1, if money has caused you a problem, there come the ones. And 2, if you're single, oh, wow, okay, you're making all your financial decisions alone. All right. I see. You know what's interesting about this is that none of you are by yourselves. And I know there's more than you 5 people who responded, because I get a report every week about how many people are actually on the call. And it's 50 plus people on this call every week. Okay, some of y'all ain't saying nothing, but it's all good. Leah, all right, yes, 2-ish. What's that? Ish? That you single-ish, or you making the decision-ish on your own? But at any rate, here's something that I want you to listen to very, very carefully. If you're having big discussions about money, it's caused arguments, and you know what? I'm gonna say a 1 in Mount, because we've had arguments about money. I ain't lying. Shoot, I'll put a 1 in there. Ain't that right, Wendy? Yeah. We've had arguments about money also. But here's the thing. But I think we've kind of gotten a handle on that. But here's the thing. You don't have a money problem. You have a communication problem. All right? It's not a money problem. Someone said that finances are one of the top reasons for divorce. Nope. And I've shared this with you before. It's how we talk about finances. Okay? Leah says, I talk through certain things with my boyfriend, but I handle my own finances. Okay. So Leah, very important, because you're learning. You're learning now. If you're talking with your boyfriend, which I think is a good idea, I encourage my daughter to do that also with her boyfriend. If you're talking about money issues with your boyfriend, you want to get in that habit. Okay? Handle your own finances right now, because you ain't married. That's right. You're not married, so you don't need to be legally connected, but you do need to start the conversations, because if your relationship is serious, you need to understand that is a signal part of your relationship and a part of your happiness. All right? So money is never really just about money. I need y'all to get this, okay? It's security. It may be security to one person. It may be freedom to another. It might be about love to a third, or power to a fourth. But when 2 people with different money earnings share a bank account, they're not disagreeing about spending. Stay with me. They're speaking completely different emotional languages. Completely different. And this is what we need to understand. Unfortunately, we're not in the time when we could barter things. Back in the day, anybody ever had no money way back in the 20s. I remember talking to my mom, bless her soul, before she passed in 2021. This is going to tell you how old I am. She and my father back in, okay, Wendy, Jesus. She and my father back in the 40s. My mother was born in 1921. Yes. Back in the 40s, they were sharecroppers. Yes, my parents, not my grandparents, my parents were sharecroppers. And she said they would work on a farm, on these farms way out in the country, and they would work to try to make money. And as they made money, what a sharecropper is basically is that you work for your room and your board and your living and all that. And you're supposed to share. It's supposed to be you getting a share of the proceeds that happen from the sale of those crops. That's what this is all about. You're sort of working, it's almost like a sweat equity kind of situation. Well, don't always work out that way. It just doesn't. Some of the people they work with, they did do well. With them, it was not. It was during a different time. There were racial issues. So back in that day, there were not really financial issues that people really talked a lot about. I mean, they talked about and they argued about the lack of money. They argued about other things. But everybody understood that the financial problems they were having were beyond themselves. Because nobody was spending money on extravagances. No one was spending money on little picadillos or other things, that were not important. They weren't buying big cars or anything. They were just making it. Their biggest arguments was, how do we get more of it? And that had nothing to do with each other. It had to do with the system. It had to do with everything outside of that. I want to share with you a few money personalities here. Okay? One is the saver. Okay? The saver. Now, here's how the saver lives. The saver always lives in fear of not having enough. He's not cheap. They're scared. Now, I'm not saying saving is bad. I have lived in this mode before, where I'm living in fear of not having enough. So I'm just saving. And you know what they say about scared money? Scared money don't make money. All right? So I'm just saving and I'm in that fear. It's not about being cheap. Sometimes I'm a little too frugal. Thank you, Wendy. But sometimes it's fear, because when you grow up in poverty, as I did, when you grow up poor like that, you don't ever want to go back to that. So you get into this saving mentality where you don't ever save. Rosie, there you go. You feel judged. You probably are. But when you want to get into this point where you don't ever want to go back, you don't ever want to be broke again. You don't ever want to go without food. You don't ever want to be hungry again. You don't ever. Saver or money manager. We're going to talk about some of the other ones, okay? Money manager. Yeah, you can say money manager, which is for the sake of the three types of money personalities. The saver is the person who lives in fear, okay? All right. Secondly, the spender. The spender is wired to live in the present. They're not irresponsible necessarily, not unaware, but they don't trip about spending money. Now, I'm going to put my wife, honey, can I put you on blast here? My wife is the spender. She's not irresponsible with it. She will find a deal. She will squeeze a dime. She will keep a check forever, okay, and not spend it. She will go, but she ain't going to buy cheap. She'll buy inexpensive, but she won't buy cheap. But she lives in the now. It's one thing I love about her. One thing that also we probably have most of our conversations about. Because she lives in the now. She's wired to the present. So spending is not a big deal because she's thinking, look, right now we have it. Let's live. Let's enjoy. Let's use it. Let's do what we got to do. Who knows where we're going to be tomorrow? Who knows where we're going to be in 100 years? Who knows where we're going to be in 10 years? Okay? So she's, and honestly, between her being a spender and me being a saver, it kind of balances us out. Because she teaches me to not be such a penny pincher and to live. And I teach her to kind of pull back sometimes. So there's a balance there. Honey, I'm putting you on blast, okay? And then there's what are y'all saying here? You feel judged, okay? Don't feel bad, Wendy. She does not feel bad. Don't y'all fall for that. Teach me your ways. I love a good coupon. Michael, well, hey, Calvin, I'm a saver for myself, but a spender for my wife and my family. You know what, Michael? Thank you so much, because you're absolutely right. And that's kind of where I fall as well, right? I can be a saver. I don't like to spend money on me. I just don't. But I always spend money on my wife and sometimes the kids if they don't get out of my pockets. But I tend to be more of a saver for me than for my family. Okay, my wife has to bug me to buy me stuff. I went on a trip recently out of the country and came back, and I was so surprised, and she was too, that I bought myself 2 items of clothing. Okay, but I bought her more than I bought me because that's how I'm wired. Okay, I feel like I have to spend for other people more than for me. I don't know the psychology behind it. But the third person is the avoider. Now, this is where a lot of us fall. This is what really causes financial issues. The avoider does not open the mail. They're financially paralyzed. And almost in every relationship, you find people who are an avoider. Yeah. These are the people who, because of debt, because of fear, because of what issues, they're like, look, it's a bill collector. I'm not going to answer the phone. If it's a number I don't recognize, I ain't going to answer the phone. I'm not. Because I'm going to avoid it. Newsflash. I know you spent for me, baby. You really do. Newsflash. Avoiding your problems don't make them go away. It exacerbates them and makes them worse over time. Avoiding whatever issue it is, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's sexual, no matter what it is, it does not get better by your avoidance. Avoidance is one of the most detrimental things you can do in your finances. I would rather you go ahead, spend money, let's talk about it, let's deal with it, as opposed to you avoiding the issue and just don't do nothing. The Bible has a very, very important scripture, and it says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Okay? You can't be wishy-washy, okay? You have to make a decision. You can't avoid. In fact, he says, the Bible says in Revelation, I'm throwing you a little scripture now, I would rather you be hot or cold, but don't be lukewarm. Don't just stay in that middle ground where you avoid and don't make a decision. It is not good. It is detrimental to your family. It's detrimental to your finances, okay? So where are we going with this? How should we handle our finances? First of all, I was talking to a couple recently who was talking about my money and their money. And I was kind of surprised because they were saying, well, I do this and this is his money. And I was like, if you've been married for that long, there is no my money and your money. Every dime, every bit of it is our money. And this is very difficult for people to wrap their minds around. How many of you out there now, give me a 1 if this is your case, are operating with the our money attitude? Give me a 2 if it's a my money and his money, or my money and her money attitude. I need to know. It's okay. Don't nobody see your face. We won't recognize you on the street. It's all right. Okay. Great. My money, his money. Leah, my money. Leah, you ain't married. It better be your money and his money. Okay. Capri, sadly, absolutely. Okay. And there's nobody know our money. Everybody else ain't saying nothing. Yeah, I don't just ask y'all to put the stuff out. Rosie said 3. Jesus help us. Okay. What is that? I don't know what that means. Okay. But when you grow together, it's easier to say our money. Okay, great. And when it comes to sharing money with 2, when it comes to sharing money with relatives, absolutely. 1 says Michael, 3 says Capri. 2, but it's really my money is our money and his money is his. What? Okay, Sabine, we need to talk. It's really 2, but it's really my money is our money and his money is his money? Okay. I'm going to sit on that for a second. That kind of inequity will always keep you in financial ruin. And you know I love you, Sabine. You know I do. But that kind of inequity will always keep you in financial ruin. Where one person, irrespective of if you're making all the money, one person, it's like we're sharing it, but the other person, no, this is all mine. And it really doesn't make a difference if it's the man who says it's all mine or the woman who says it's all mine. That will lead you to financial ruin. Because one person will always feel neglected and the other person will always feel in power. When it comes to finances, this is really important. You got to get it. There should never be a power struggle. Money is never the thing that creates power in a relationship. It's value. Okay, let me go on. We have joint accounts and individual accounts. Now you're talking, Rosie. Joint and individual. This is, and they know this because I gave them premarital counseling. But they should have joint accounts and individual accounts. This is the most important and the best way to do this. And this is how this works. Your joint accounts should be the bulk of your money. And you put money in your joint account in percentages. Okay? 80% of our funds are going to go in the joint account. We're not talking about dollar amounts. Okay, whatever, Sabine. Don't say stuff like that. You're just being funny. Okay, 80% of your money, whatever percentage you choose, 75% goes in the joint accounts. Whatever you need to do that for your bills to be paid. Okay, that 25, and I say percentages and not dollar amounts, because if you're making 200,000 and he's making 75, or he's making 200 and she's making 100, 75% is equivalent, is equitable on both sides. Okay, you do that, and then the rest of that money can go in your individual accounts. That's for your massages. That's for your trips, your girls' nights out. You have to start. You have to start thinking that way. I'm talking about practical stuff. I ain't just talking about praying Jesus is going to make it well. You have to start thinking that way, okay? Wendy says, everyone should have a joint account and my money and his money. Everyone should have a joint account.
3 accounts.
3 accounts. Okay, thank you. Everyone should have 3 accounts. Absolutely. A joint account, your money, and your spouse's money. That has to be the way it is. If you don't have it that way, you need to have this discussion. We've said this in previous meetings, and I'm going to keep pressuring you until you get it right, until you do that. Okay? We need your help, Pastor Cal. Hit me up. We'll talk. Capri. Yasmin. I heard Steve Harvey say it's best to have joint and you ain't need Steve Harvey. You got me. Okay? But I'm telling you, Steve, Yasmin. Okay? That's what I'm saying. You have to have the joint accounts because ultimately your bills have to be taken care of. Okay? Now, if you're in a situation where you only have one income coming into the house, all right, and you're both working towards something, that one income, right, you still need to have complete awareness. If only one person's income is contributing to an account, that's perfectly fine, as long as you both have joint accounts. Both of your names are on that account. Because God forbid if something happens to you, you do not get access to those funds. Those funds will go into probate. So you both need to have a joint account. I don't care if one person is making all the money and the other person is only contributing value as far as housekeeping and taking care of the kids, et cetera, et cetera. You still have to have names on those accounts. Now, get this. Even on your individual accounts, your my money and his money account, both of your names should be on those as well. Yes. You don't have to have check writing privileges. You don't even have to have the ATM number. But both names should be on that account as well. There's a reason for that. Again, as I just stated, if something happens to you, your spouse needs to know how to access your funds. I've seen it so many times where I've had to deal with families where they did not take advantage of that. And now they're paying the price. Funds are locked up forever. Okay, until you can go to court and get it unlocked. Okay. Some spouses don't know how to manage money, so each person should put some money in a pot. Them have their own. They have their own stash. Okay. I'm sorry, I play too much. You do play too much, girl. Please. Yasmin. What about spouses who can't manage money well and they keep spending the bills money on? First of all, the bills money cannot be spent. This is why you have your own individual account. The bills money is the bills money. You got your account, okay? And every time there's a money that comes in, it goes into your account. This is harsh, but get it. Y'all got to take responsibility of your money. The person who is overspending, if they have access and they're going into the bills account, cancel the card. The person who has that access, just agree. Look, no, this is not working. That card must be canceled. Because I'm sorry, it's rough, but it is what it is. Because you cannot spend the bills money. If you're paying rent, you need to have at least 6 months of rent saved up. Okay, I try to do a year of so I ain't got to worry about it for a year. Okay? You need to have 6 months at least saved up. You need to have emergency money. All that's in the bill account. When you start pulling from that, you're pulling from your very existence. All right? I didn't know that that's so good. I didn't know that. Oh, great. You're good. My mom took my stepdad's debit card and gave him an allowance. Yes! Yes! And you see, it goes both ways. If dude can't spend money, take that card. Give that joker an allowance. This is all you... Because unfortunately, we have not all been taught how to handle money. And as people of color, of the diaspora, the culture, we need to start building wealth. Okay? Can we get a future live on the topics of discussing estates, wills, trust power? Oh my, yes, man. We're going to do that. In fact, I was going to tap on that just briefly in the last 4 minutes. Let me share this with you. And then we're going to continue this next week also. We're going to talk more about finances on next week, because I think this is really important. One thing that we're doing, that I'm doing, let me tell you about the Rockefeller principle. I don't know if you know about this. I'm going to share it with you. Stay with me. Here's how the Rockefellers, who have established and kept their money from the 1800s to the 1900s and now into the 2000s. Let me show you how they did this. Wendy, if he gets mad, he's just mad. We ain't gonna trip about it. But this is how it happens. Whenever a child is born, they take out a whole life policy. Okay? A whole life policy is an insurance policy that grows cash value. Every month, as you pay into it, cash value is accumulated. Over the years, that cash value grows as your payments grow. At some point, you can borrow from that, but it detracts from your death benefit. Okay? What the Rockefellers will do is that every time a child is born, they will start a cash whole life, ordinary life policy. Now, this may be, this is, from what I understand, a $1 million policy. We can't do that. Nobody I know can do that. I don't know, maybe Michael can do that. He says we have automatic deposit to our joint account, so there's always enough to pay. There you go. That's it. Automatic deposit. But here's the deal. They take out this $1 million policy for every child. As a child grows, they can borrow from it. Now, the idea is that you borrow from it for a house. You borrow from it from whatever. You're borrowing from the family. You pay that back over time. Okay? Now, when that person dies, after so many years, you can imagine where the cash value has grown. And when that person dies, guess what happens to that death benefit? It goes back into the family estate. So they perpetuate financial legacy. They perpetuate this wealth legacy for each child that's born. Now, I'm going to ask you something, because I know you can't do $1 million. I don't know your finances. Maybe you can. But if you were to start a $5,000 or $500, I don't care, any kind of whole life policy, you start it small and then grow it over time, you will get to the point where you can start establishing family wealth. I've come to the realization that I'm not building wealth just for me. My prayer and my hope is the stuff that I'm doing now will, generations from now, be benefited. Okay? So, that's how they have established wealth. And Talamisha said, that's what we did for our children. Girl, you are so ahead of the curve. That is awesome. But this is what we need to teach each other. This is what we need to start learning. I know it's always about communication, but I'm going to tell you something. I was talking to a buddy of mine who was talking about, man, people talking about just pray. I was listening to a song. Y'all, who sings that? I don't think it's Temptation. It says, the best things in life are free, but you can give that to the birds and bees. I need money. Yeah. Money answers a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not a money hog. I don't believe, I won't sell my soul for it. I will not put it in front of my children or my values, but I understand its value. And I know that when we're using it effectively, it can become a tool for a happy marriage instead of an instrument of argument in that marriage. Okay? That's it. I hope you got it. Okay? We're going to continue this one on next year, and we're going to talk some more about wills and Next week. Did I say next year? Okay, next week we're going to talk some more. And I want you guys to come back. Bring somebody with you. Bring somebody with you. Tell them what we're talking about. Because this money thing is this money thing is serious. We're going to talk about it next week, okay? God bless you guys. Been so great to be on. And let's tell somebody. And please hit me up if you want a Marriage Ain't for Punks chapter in your city. Let's talk about how we can get that done. All right? God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.